Hello everyone, welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot and welcome to our third party reading. So today we're going to take a little bit of a shift and look at some of the pressures that are happening as a result of this third party interference or pressures that are basically coming from that third party. So if we assume you and your person are the first and second parties, anything outside of that would constitute that third party energy. So that's what we're taking a look at. As always, it's going to be a general reading for this collective. So if it resonates with you, take a look at some of the other readings, maybe even some of the other series. So this is a series about the third party, but we've got several here. Maybe take a look and see what resonates for you. There's a lot here, and all of the readings are very much connected. And just remember that even if you hit subscribe, you want to go ahead and hit notify so that the videos do come up for you. Let's see. So for today, we've got the Black Tarot and the Stained Glass Tarot. We're going to work, these two want to work together today. And then here, I've got the one that I always misname if I'm not careful. Divine Abundance. I always want to call it the Abundant Divine, and it's close but not quite. So we're going to start out with a card from the Divine Abundance, and that'll be what starts us off. So we've got the card of individuality. Every person has their own personalized study plan in this Earth school. So what this reminds me of is that that Two of Cups in the reverse that we've been getting sometimes here lately. And what it really is about, not so much that it is like a lack of partnership, it's more a matter of this individuality. It's the idea that you are going to be walking your own path, although you may be able to walk it in conjunction with another, because they're walking their own path as well. So let's see how things are going between your person and that third party energy. So we're looking at the energy happening between those parties, and in many cases you're talking about your person and another person who constitutes that third party energy. Sometimes it's not another, oh, it's just one card. Sometimes it's not an individual, but more of an environment. So it can be work, it can be the situations around that, and oftentimes that's what we start digging into. So we've got so far an Ace of Swords in the reverse, a Four of Cups in the upright. This is not what I would call promising energy, especially because this Ace of Swords came out looking a little bit misguided, feeling a little bit misguided. And then this Four of Cups, we've got, just feels like disappointment. And then you've got the Magician. Willingness and ability to turn things around or make things different. It's almost like being in a bad mood. It's almost like a bad mood between the two of them. This sense of disappointment is palpable. This is feeling like it's time to deal with somebody else, do something different. It's very much a feeling of, I'm going to leave this person and walk away and do something different, or leave this job. It's almost more like that. It's almost like more like leaving a type of relationship to find somebody else. So if you've got I don't know, somebody that prepares your taxes and you don't like them and you want to go to somebody different that prepares taxes, it's that sort of element of disappointment. And it seems to be wrapped around something that they feel like they're not getting truth, or they feel like there is something here that that is not truthful. They either don't want to give truth, or they don't feel like they're getting it. And it feels like it is between them, lack of truth between them, which is not entirely unexpected. We saw the third party receiving some kind of proposition a few readings ago. We definitely have seen a shift that is happening between the two of them. There was some kind of action coming from that third party in the last reading. And we looked into it even when we got into the extended to understand a little bit more about it, because we knew it was going to create change, and we knew that it was going to create some challenge. Oh, I thought one turned over. Yep, it did. But it was just, it's like it's actions that were going to change the relationship between them, permanently changing what's between them. Something that feels like it breaks some sort of magic between them. Then you've got the Star in the reverse, definitely not moving down a path that seems like it is prescribed somehow. there is something that they're supposed to be doing, that somebody's breaking a deal. What was it that came out last time? It was like they were asking for payback. They were asking for payback. The third party was asking for some perceived, like something that they felt like they were owed. There's a reduction of opportunity between them, a reduction of happiness, reduction of emotion, reduction of expression of that emotion, and more of a feeling of being self-conscious. This is less emotional freedom and less desire between the two of those. So if it's their job, they don't want to work there, and that place doesn't really want them as much either. It is mutual in that sense. Definitely frustration between each other, not wanting to move toward each other, not wanting to meet in the middle. There's definitely a sense of your person feeling some fear out of this, which is not also not super surprising. Remember, one of the things that we saw, so when we checked into this energy last time, we had that weird, undefined, foggy sort of energy. They were feeling a sense of emotional disengagement, which was not quite as strong as the disappointment that we see over here. They've now connected it to something that they feel is negative. So they were using that foggy sense as kind of almost a cover. They were using it almost as a cover to fade, and because they didn't feel emotionally safe, because there was something this third party was doing, which we then learned or saw was something that was going to change the way that their relationship works, basically indefinitely, changes it forever. Lack of emotional safety. Some kind of lack of emotional safety. But I also was noticing that as your person was kind of shrink back, so they had been trying to get out of that room without being noticed for some time. And what it felt like here was that they, like this third party turns around and looks right at them, but not necessarily in an accusatory manner, because they don't realize there's anything going on. They're too enthralled or too involved in their own drama. So we've got the Page of Swords here. We've got now a Page of Swords and a Knight of Swords, both in the reverse, a sense of them freaking each other out, not super trusting of either themselves or each other, and this feeling of both of them feeling quite threatened by the other. So this is not a productive place of growth. This is not something where healing is occurring. It doesn't even really seem like a place where there is much, like there's not much not much lesson happening. It's a whole bunch of holding on and keeping control of things. So this is not a sense of a conducive environment for this relationship or for them, for either of them. It's making both of them feel uncomfortable, making both of them feel like they're being observed too closely. But one of the things that we also have, especially, I think it comes in a little bit, well, it comes in, it's implied by both this Page and Knight of Swords. I feel it a little around this Fool card. There is some kind of pressure that is coming in from that third party, and we knew that. I knew it from my meditations and also from some of the readings that have been kind of coming out. Pressures from the third party that are causing them to behave in a way that is impacting you. So we're going to look at what those impacts are on you, but I want to separate those out. So looking at those pressures that are coming from the third party, this is the things that they're doing to impact them. So we know that there's interplay. We know that some of that interplay is not necessarily exactly positive. We've got the Hierophant. Okay, where does the guidance come from? Who has the upper hand? There is some sort of control question about who has the upper hand. And remember, there has been kind of moving back and forth. The control has been going back and forth between these two, and it's not been consistent. So we've got an Ace of Cups. We've got the Tower, something that didn't used to matter, now all of a sudden matters quite a lot, and it's a huge emotional impact that they can't seem to get rid of, can't seem to ignore. Some kind of cat is out of the bag. Some sort of understanding has come out now that wasn't there before, and it has really disrupted the flow of like the flow of balance, determining who does what in this relationship. So where somebody had the upper hand for a very long time, now something new has come out and there's a significant change there. They no longer do that. Balance has been disrupted. Who's in control, who gets to exercise control and decide how things are going to be is in flux. There is a lot of emotion involved here, and there's definitely something of never thought that it was going to turn out like this. I thought that I could at least trust you this far. There's something here where they thought there is damage beyond the expected. They thought they'd be able to at least trust that far, and they haven't been able to. So there is something going on there. Emperor, control. It's about control. Then we've got the Six of Wands. Something has actively crashed and burned. Something has actively failed. And it feels like this third party is wanting to kind of keep it within wraps, or keep it under wraps, or something like that. Control the narrative around it. We get a little bit of that with the Emperor. With the Six of Wands, though, this is something having collapsed or failed. Something has collapsed, but it's not out there. No one knows about it. Three of Pentacles in the reverse. It threatens to be seen. Six of Pentacles in the reverse. Again, we've got a Six of Spears over here. That's that same earth energy. And this is that out of balance, lack of balance. What balance even means has changed between the two of them. And that's where some of the pressures are coming from. It's like threats. There's a power differential, some kind of power differential that is not the same way that it was before. Something we've been seeing the power shifting between the two of them. We are now seeing something that looks a little bit more dramatic and like there's more at stake. So pressures from the third party go from being kind of blunt to being a little bit sharper, a little bit more dangerous. I don't know about physically dangerous, but maybe dangerous to the reputation, a little bit more dangerous than usual. Larger threat than usual. There's a lot more fear going on the side of this third party than there was before, but we also know that there's some disingenuous stuff going on with this third party at this point. Let's see. Dropped an Ace of Pentacles, and nope, just the Ace of Pentacles. Never know how many of the cards we're going to take there. However many have the glow. Okay, so with the Ace of Pentacles, moving into new territory we see is not always a positive thing. So this is starting, it's like heralding a brand new day, but it's a lot more, okay, yeah, who's in control now? But it's not healthy. So this may be kind of a fight between the two of them, a little bit of a struggle around who's going to have that control, only a little bit more of a conscious struggle where it may turn into a conversation where they are actually able to say, are you done yanking me around just yet? You know, there may be a sense of them saying, it's time for you, of your person saying to this third party, I'm tired of this pressure and I'm tired of you yanking me around, which will by all means impact you, which we'll see how that goes. But just that shift, remember that this is somebody who has been operating in what we have often called the third party, like the force field. And so that feels like they come in, they behave differently, they think differently, their priorities are even different. And now we're seeing a shift in that force field. They are forcing a shift because of something that has failed. Okay, so we have an Eight of Pentacles, something that should have been practiced and never was. They knew it, they didn't do it. Something that they could have avoided. There's something that they could have avoided here. And what does that drive, though? What can you expect from this situation? Because we've got basically avoidance. We've got a sense of not even thinking it's possible to have what they want. So a sense of having to settle. Avoidance of even thinking about the reality of it. There's something here that just hurts too much, smarts too much. It gets in too deep, and I don't think your person quite knows the extent of it. So this is some of the healing that third party was supposed to be doing, because if you recall, we had seen in several readings that your person was not learning some of the lessons associated with this third party, which is part of the reason that situation was not done with them. However, what we've also seen in some of the subsequent readings, when we looked a little bit more deeply at what was happening with this third party, we found that they were not necessarily absorbing the lessons that they're supposed to be taking in either, and that is slowing things down for both of them and consequently creating some bigger issues. So there's a lot of this pressure, a lot of this threats that it feels like are no longer so binding for your person. So this feels like threats coming in from this third party that are less and less binding on your person as time goes on. And that power shift is how they start to see that. So they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to call your bluff because I think it's going to be worse for you than it is for me, you know, that sort of situation. And I guess it'll be curious to see what that means. We're going to look to see what the impact is on you, because this is your person gaining some upper hand in a situation where they have been, like, they've notoriously lost it in the past. So you're going to see what the impact is to you as they start to come into their own, and did they do enough growth? So you can see what to expect from this situation. Well, I guess let's look at that more deeply and specifically, because I want to get advice for you, but also to understand what to expect from this situation. And that's what we're going to do when we get into the extended, because I want to see that a little bit more specifically. And you guys know I'm always going to come out with the details eventually. Like I talked about what happened in the extended, and I have put some of the details in. I think I mentioned it at one point. Things that came out of the extended the last time we did this reading. I will make sure to do that in the future, because I know not everybody gets the extended, but I still want the story to come through. So if this is some of the pressures that are happening, let's understand what the impact is to you. And we now understand that it is really the impact of the shift that's happening between the two as this is happening, that shift that's giving your person the upper hand. Okay, so let's see. We have first thing coming out is the Justice card, a sense of justice, a sense of knowing what's real, a sense of knowing what is right, a sense of this is kind of interesting, because I feel like if there are red flags coming from this person, if they still have not developed enough and there are still going to be red flags coming out, this is where you're going to start to see it. So your ability to see those red flags has improved, even if you might still fall prey to them. You're well aware you're doing it. That's a big difference. I know it can still feel a little rough when it happens, but you know you're doing it and you know what you're doing. Knight of Swords. Okay, so you've got a Knight of Swords here in the reverse. This could create a little bit of fear in you because you may be uncertain what you're looking at when this person suddenly becomes as powerful as they are and doesn't necessarily seem to have become more sensitive to your needs. Heads up, they probably have not become more sensitive to your needs, but they might be better at faking it. You've got the Star, you've got the Chariot. There is a potential that you see a sense of go-ahead, or you feel a sense of go-ahead, but it is going to be character. What you'll notice is that they don't exactly know where to land, or you don't exactly know where to land. So you can feel like this, I've got a sense of needing to move forward, can't tell if it's artificial or not. Wait until the last moment to make your decision. The evidence is as to which way you need to go is going to show up at the last moment. Let's see. We have a Four of Wands that just came out here in the reverse. Truth coming out. Something that is not starting the way that it looks like is starting. So Ace of Swords is very much wait for it. Wait for it. It will be undeniable truth. You will know it is true when you hear it. And then you've got the Four of Wands, which is really, it's supposed to be a happy new beginning, but it's something that gets arrested along the way. Here's the thing, though. I feel like the impact to you correct very quickly. So you're going to, I feel like you're better able to see these red flags. You get almost like a false start, almost a sense that you need to run and you need to go, but you wait for that last minute. So that's advice already starting to come out. Wait for that last minute before you wait as long as you can before you make the call. There's going to be something with regard to this person. You wait as long as you can before you make the call. And at that last minute, what you decide is probably going to be a much more defined, well-informed sort of decision. Also, keep in mind that you're going to have to be able to sleep at night. There's definitely a sense of needing to consider, don't overthink, but consider what it is that you're doing and what it is that you want out of what you're getting, or how do you want this to be? Because if you're going to try and drive a behavior that you don't exactly condone, and that is going to be more possible in this case, what does that mean? What is the impact to you? So it's about having to think about what that impact to you would be. Six of Cups in the reverse, not making the same mistakes as the past. Make sure that you are not, you may be inclined to make some of the mistakes from the past because it seems like they almost open themselves up to you to just to give it another try. Go ahead and do it again, and you look at it and say, wow, I know better. And that's information that you are supposed to use. You have the Seven of Swords here talking about self-trust, talking about your ability to make the right decisions. So the impact is really just kind of throwing things into stark relief for you. So again, you're better able to see the red flags. You're better able to see the situation. You're better able to see what you have and haven't done. When this truth comes out, you are able to see the light. You're able to look at this light because your eyes are not, your eyes are already well adjusted. You're already in the light. It's not too bright for you to look at, which is the problem that this person keeps having. You know, they keep, you are like a light that's too bright to look at because they're used to hanging out in the dark and shielding themselves from that sort of light because they don't want that sort of scrutiny, the scrutiny that comes with it. So we've got two things that come out here: Four of Swords, Eight of Wands, and then I got a couple of them that fell on the floor here. So let me see what I've got. Okay. Basically, with the Seven of Swords, you know the way. You know the way, and now it's your time to walk it. But with this Eight of Wands, no rush. Just like earlier, you were seeing it's going to be an opportunity not to make the same mistakes from before, but definitely going to have to be able to sleep at night. So you're going to be able to see things better. That is the impact to you. The impact to you is that all of this seems to show up, and instead of being just really nebulous and you're not sure what to do about it, you know exactly what to do about it. Also thrown into stark relief is the level of your healing. So you're going to be able to say, oh my gosh, I've got a long way to go. And it doesn't hurt as much this time. You're just able to see it. So this isn't quite in the category of lessons that are more enjoyable to learn exactly, but definitely knowing what to do and having it not hurt quite as badly as you're looking at it. So yeah, it's still going to smart a little bit, but it's not quite the same as when it happened the first time. Okay, so we got to get a feel for what to expect behavior-wise from this situation, as well as what you need to do next. I love this, that everything feels like it gets a little bit clearer to you, and you got to like take that as wisdom and not the runway for a new mistake, because this will be enough rope to hang yourself. So you got to make sure that as you see it, you're using this wisely. So we'll look to get you some additional advice when we get into the extended. So I am going to go ahead and pull these cards together here. I will shuffle them, and then I will be back with the extended. I love doing these just back to back like this. So as soon as I come back, that's what I'll be doing. So I will see you with the extended. I would just say in the meantime, thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you. I hope you're able to join me over in the extended. Link to that will be down below. There are several links to tell you how to interact with this channel. And the very top one should be the link to this extended video. So I will say then, I'll see you over there in just a moment.